$5,500
For 1 unit.
for 1 unit with a spare bottle.
Well, nobody is saying that y'all don't need any money. I know you do, and let me be first to say to appreciate what you do, and you
Thank you.
dedicating your time to helping keep Haskell County safe. I understand safety equipment. I deal with it every day. We have to wear FRs for work. We have to have all the PPEs that maybe not quite as expensive as some of y'all's stuff. But I understand how you complying to state rules. Your ISO is kind of like my EPM. They base the rate of my insurance off of our safety records and what kind of equipment we have too. So I understand where you're coming from there. Nobody wants the fire departments to be underfunded. But all we're asking is how much does it actually cost? I mean, have we do we need more? Have we about got all the trucks that we need to bought yet?
No, I need another one. I need another pumper to replace that 74 model. Right now, it won't, there's no way it'll meet NFPA specifications.
So we'll see how many trucks whenever you get that list.
But there's only, there's no way I could buy one without paying this one off first.
Right, yeah, all right.
So in another 4 years, maybe.
This taxes, what has it been into effect, about 3 or 4 years?
3 or 4 years.
It was passed in 2011, and we started seeing income off of it in the fall of 2011.
And like in that short amount of time.
It's 5 years old.
Like I said, in that 5-year period, at least 4 of the departments in the county have lowered their ISO rating, which has saved homeowners and business owners pretty good bucks.
There's been how many pumper trucks involved? The Stigler's got one, you got one, Whitefield's got one.
Leakwire.
No, Lakewire didn't buy one.
We got one.
I'm CSEC Gibson with the Lakewire Fire Department, and we've been saving our money, the county money, trying to extend our building, because we don't have a building that's big enough for anything else. And not really even big enough for the truck we have. You've got this much space between the back wall and you back the truck in. That's it. So we've been saving the money to extend the building and to buy a new truck as soon as we can. But we do sometimes pay the water bill, the electric bill, things like that out of it. And our board is very tight. Those of you that know Deward Martin and different ones that are on the board, you know how tight it can be. So, but we do our best to do with what we have, because Lakewire has no income other than the operational grant and that and any other grants I can come up with. And in the last couple of years, I've been real busy with family and haven't had a chance to do a grant. I'm fixing to ask for one.
Well, that was one of my questions too. Are we still seeking out grants?
Yes,
Every day.
but you're limited in the number of firemen you have that can really do grant
Okay, so,
request.
yeah, and you said you're saving money to build a building, and that's great. I'm sure you need to extend the building. I ain't arguing that point. Your account, does it look like it has around $77,000 right now? ain't it?
Yes, we just requested or are about to request. I know it went before our board to request, I believe it was $28,000 to start building.
Something I'd like to say about Lakewire, for instance, they've got a lot more money than like say I do. If ISO come and rated them today, I don't know what rating they even are now, but they wouldn't even get a rating because they have a tanker and a grass rig. To get a rating, your pumper has to have 750 gallon a minute capability in the pump. Theirs is not. They'd lose whatever they even have. So
We've got to increase. We have the people, and we have several first responders. that go in case of accidents and all that sort of thing. But we don't have the building to put the equipment in, and you can't buy the equipment to run it.
That's something
You
else
have the
we,
land available for
Yes,
addition of the building?
yes.
that's something else we do that I don't know if y'all know we do or not. We first respond for EMS. Anytime an ambulance comes to McCurtain, we're called first, which means our rescue trucks basically, I'm sure Jack's, probably his Kyotas, most of them do it. Basically stock like a BLS ambulance, like a basic life support. We got AED, we got oxygen, suction machine, all the stuff to do CPR and all that. And that's pretty much all out of our, I don't know what the EMS site costs.
That's not including the auto extrication equipment that's in the county.
Yeah, and that's
too.
not counting the $20,000 set of extrication tools, if you buy a basic set. If you got Jack's money, you can buy.
Well, I'm sure that it costs money to get training to operate all that equipment.
Yeah,
too, doesn't it?
Our rescue truck, we cover from Pittsburgh County line, center of the dam, to the Hoyt coverage area, all the way across Beaver Mountain Road. We got a big area. So any vehicle accidents, heart attacks, I mean, we're not just fire. We run probably 97% medical costs.
Yeah, see, ours is
That's our
probably
fault.
ours is probably in the
Because we have such a
70%.
big area.
But does the state pay for this first responder training, or does
No, it comes out of
comes
our
out of this
The
budget.
last class cost us $675 a piece.
Or CDL? Do we have to have CDLs to buy those?
No, not in the state of Oklahoma.
But in Linkwire, there are 4 of us that have CDLs.
That's good.
There
So-
are 3 paramedics.
But you
Pretty
have
much
to have,
everybody's supposed
You
to
are
respond.
required to have a driver's license.
Yeah, you have to have a driver's
Oh,
license.
yeah.
To even be on the
You have to have a driver's license and a high school diploma to even be on my department. And you're on probation for the first 6 months, which means you don't drive anything.
Right. They have to go through emergency vehicle driver training. OSU does a lot of free training, but like the first responders, they get an EMR card. When I took it, it was 500, and she just said it went up another 150.
That was 2 years ago, now it's probably more.
Yeah, so, I mean, it goes up every year. Everything goes up every year, and it's sometimes twice in a year. But like I said, our medical for my department is, I mean, we run a whole lot more of that than we do fire. We probably run 8 to 9 medical calls a month, and then on a busy month during the summer when we had a lot of grass fires, Broken Mountain burn, Russellville burns all the time. I mean, we're hooked, and we're hooked tight. I've got probably 6 active members that are really active, and then your hands are tied, so you're hollering for mutual aid on top of all this. So,
each fire department, let me ask you this, how big of a circle, how big of an area do they cover?
it varies. Hoyt's not as big as ours. Whitefield, I don't think is as big as ours. I'm not.
Like a
100%.
5 mile or 10 mile radius?
ISO recognizes 5 miles from the front door of your fire station.
Yeah.
If you're outside that 5 mile radius, they won't give you the end. If you live 5 miles from the front door of McCurtain's fire station and there's a water supply within 1,000 feet of your house, you get the same rating as if you were across the road from the fire department. Outside the 5 miles, you get a lower deal.
Well, several years ago, ISO came in and with the chiefs and everybody got together and we set boundaries. And we initially eliminated the 5 mile radius. That used to be, if you were outside 5 mile, you had no protection except if the fire department came out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we set up the boundaries then, and it extended that actually over 5 mile. So we're actually, according to ISO map that I've got, the whole county's covered.
What
Yeah,
you're asking though
everybody in the county
is there like districts? Like
Right.
Yeah.
there's
every-
districts,
everybody has their own
there's
district.
So is it like that? Is there a boundary like that?
Yeah,
That is
I have a map with my
That is
area.
ISO
Yeah,
layer.
ours is huge because it also goes into the mountains until we.
They all bump each other the way,
Right.
the way they're drawn out.
Well, and one reason I said, wondering, and I'm not, I'm be first to you that I don't know everything, the way the fire departments operate, that's why I'm asking questions. You say if you got a 5 mile radius, just, we'll say 5 miles, even though Frank said they extended it. And you're at Hoyt, and Whitefield's 4 miles away, I guess, something like that, ain't it? So your boundary overlaps into Whitefield. If Whitefield has a pumper truck, do we really need one at Hoyt?
Yes.
Yeah.
To make, being
Yes,
compliant?
because what it
Is it
comes down
compliance
to
bill?
is how much water you can get on scene. This is ISO. How much water you can get on scene and put on a fire in so many minutes. Okay, so say Whitefield's got a pumper. There's a fire in Hoyt. Okay, they're coming with their pumper. I'm going to be coming with a tanker from Brookings because we're all mutual aid. Okay, so that's my 3,000 gallons. Their 3,000 gallons and Hoyt's well, whatever his new truck is. I think it's 20-something hundred gallons. Anyway, when you put that many gallons on fire on a scene at one time, your ISO ratings drop considerably.
Well, let me take that just a little bit farther on his question about the need for the pumper at Hoyt. Since they have an established fire department, they get this tax money for it. For them to be considered to have an ISO regulation or evaluation for that area, they have to have that pumper in that station.
No, that's what I was asking.
It has to be, each department has to have a pumper capable
To
of
get
pumping
raised.
750 gallons of water per minute, and then you get figured into the water flow on the tankers and all that stuff, depending on water sources, water lines, fire hydrants, all of that comes into play then. But each
You have to have it
department,
to be a-
each
to be a
department
fire
has to have a
department, you have
pumper.
to have a pumper.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have a.
And that was my question.
At least
I'm sorry, I
one.
didn't understand.
It was a state requirement. It wasn't that we got it just because we wanted it.
No.
I think the city of Stigler to stay at our 5 rating we're at right now, I think we're required at least 2 pumpers and maybe 3.
They require me to have 2 in the curtain.
I think we're at 2 and we've got 3. Well, we actually got 4, but one of them don't meet the standards.
When does age take them out of compliance?
Age don't really matter. It's just how much maintenance, what you keep your truck up to. As
So
long
long
as it
as-
can meet the standards.
So
it
long
can
as
be
they meet
100
the
years
pump
old.
yearly pump
It don't
test,
matter.
they're good to go.
But most of the time they wear out and they get to where they won't hold the pressure.
More money in it.
Yeah, you'll be putting more. Right.
That's why we need to get rid of the 70.
Do you get a fine if you're not up to IPO
No, they
standards?
just start raising your number back up and everything starts falling apart. No fine.
If we don't keep our end of it up, everybody pays the price.
Right.
When your ISO starts rising up because we don't have the funding for manpower or whatever it takes to keep our ratings down, and everybody pays for it again.
Yeah, see, if McCartan, we just went from an 8 down to a 5. If something happened and we lost that, then that $230 a month I've been saving personally on my insurance would go back. It'd go away. Nor the insurance company would start charging that money back. And that's on a little old, well, like it shows an $85,000 house. If you got a $300,000 house, or the school sitting over there, there's no telling how much it's saving them in fire insurance money every year.
And you have to have an ISO of 9 to be on state pension. If you're above that, none of your firefighters get state pension.
A 10 is basically saying there is no fire department. It don't exist.
Send the backpack.
And unfortunately, not all departments are equal in equipment right now. Some of us are trying to grow, we're trying to improve, we're trying to get our ratings down where the people in our district can get a good fire rate. And some of the departments already have better equipment than others. But
Well, that's
everybody
what
in the end is going to have to come around with the same specs.
That'd be a good reason to have that list that Randy was talking about. How much equipment do we actually own? Each fire department, how many trucks, how many pumps, how many fire suits, how many radios?
They don't treat y'all like they do a business as far as if you don't have if let's say your pumper don't pump enough water, they don't say you can't use it. They just drop your IPO rate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
you lose your ISO rate.
Their
it'll go
ISO,
down
I'm sorry.
on you. They're not gonna. The state can step in and close a department if it's in bad enough disarray. I don't know of any around here that's ever been shut down.
How often do they check your stuff for your rates? Every year?
Every 3 to 5 years on the ISO comes around every 3 to 5 years is what their plan is. The state, as far as the stuff they give us through the forestry service, it's once a year. If you have any equipment, because they had a equipment loaning thing for a while, still do maybe. They come every year, you have to produce that, show, they physically come and say, okay, here's that pair of boots we give you, because it'll have a state number on the inside of it. You have to account for the $4,400 that they give you every year and what you spend it on before you get it the next year. We just had to go through that.
And the ISO rating's not free. They charge you to come do all that. You gotta do your pump test, you gotta do hose test, and
Yeah,
and all these have gotta meet specs. If a hose won't hold the pressure for a certain amount of time, it's out.
That's
It
why
can be
we
a
just had
perfectly
to
good
buy
hose
one.
holding water, but if it don't hold pressure, it's out. So, I mean, if a truck runs over one by accident on scene, it's a ruined hose. I mean, it's gone. So, I mean, there's fees, there's costs too that you're not expecting. The big fire out in Woodward, all those trucks that were lost, they were lost like that. And when you go to start trying to replace one of them, you need a little bit of money setting back, because you never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen.
Are those insured?
Huh?
Are those trucks insured?
I don't know about those.
I mean-
We are now, yeah. But I mean, not everything's covered. Some departments have insurance that just covers the truck. But there's another $100,000 worth of equipment on the truck. See, and if you lose total loss, you just never know what insurance is going to cover and what they're not. Anybody that builds insurance knows that. So it's a risk.
Did you say that the forestry department checks you annually?
Yes.
And they gave you how much?
It's been about between 4 and 45 a year.
And the county is between 1,600 a month?
Yeah, average is around 1,600 a month.
And yet you don't have, you're never checked by the county?
The county's never actually physically, they've never actually physically came over there and looked in that station and said, okay, there's that truck sitting there. No.
Going back to Randy's initial question, was there any form of accounting for the county? And it doesn't appear that there's a total put together. I agree with y'all individually, but it doesn't look like there's a total on $200 and some thousand a year, yet there's forestry department on $4,400 per department is asking for an annual accounting, right?
Well, the county has an account of what we spend as tax money on. It's in their public records.
Yeah.
Every purchase order, everything that we spend is there.
It's not what they spend, it's what there is, the assets of each department. And the thing that you can do with that is that you can probably gain some equipment by showing your deficiencies and where they're at and planning for them. And you can do it as a lot bigger group when there's 11 departments than there is when there's one department. And if you have all that listed, it's just like your insurance on your equipment. If you bundle that equipment and get one insurance company instead of several different, or maybe you're using the same one, but if you bundle it, you've got a lot better negotiating power than you do as individual departments. There could be a savings, same way with buying your equipment. I mean, if you guys, you know how much you need, how many new suits you got 4 expiring, you need to replace those. When you have that type of equipment, you can go out for a bid that way, and you can probably save some money by compiling all that together, and instead of just purchasing it outright on an individual department basis, you're doing it as a county-wide, and you can, there's a good chance you can save something.
Why would it be a nightmare?
This is true, but not every department has the
Well,
exact same
because you got,
need.
your apartment's
We're
gonna
out
get
in
bigger
Omaha,
on
each
that
person
front.
has a little
It
bit
doesn't matter.
different need than what we have.
It doesn't matter what your individual
Okay.
needs are. If you have a total combined
Companies that sell that stuff.
tabulation of your equipment and the stuff that you're gonna replace, you develop a plan. And then you can go out to these companies, and I guarantee you that if you go out and you're gonna buy 3 new suits and you say they cost how much a piece?
About 2,100,
So,
2,200.
let's just say
something
for
like
speaking
that.
purposes, you're gonna spend $7,000. But countywide, you're gonna buy 15 suits. Now, you might can reduce that to $2,000 a suit instead of $3,000. You see what I'm saying? And same way on your insurance and everything else. It doesn't really matter what the needs are or what each individual department has, but you're just combining the group as to a better way of wagering better.
I don't know if we could spend our money that way, because each department's, you see what I'm
don't
saying?
have, you don't have to throw it in a pot. You just say, this, which one do you represent?
Brookings.
Brookings? Okay, Brookings needs 5 suits,
Okay.
12 flashlights, 3 radios and whatever. And then one of these departments over here needs something similar. Then you can compile that together and go out, you don't even have to take it at the same time. If you've got suits that are expiring 4 months later than his is, you can negotiate to buy that equipment in a bundle like that and get it at certain times of the year better than you can buy it on an individual basis.
There's some equipment that you could probably do that on, but they like the turnout gears. They've got a set price. If you buy one, or if you buy two, or if you buy 3, they go. All of them that I've ever checked on, they go as low as 3. If you buy 3, they'll drop $150 per set off. That's all of them that I've ever looked at.
That $150 per suit is what
Exactly.
It adds up.
There is little places here and there that you could do that, but to try to get 15